the future really looks like discounting to solve a problem, not discounting to plug a revenue or profit gap.
We spend, majority of our marketing time, a lot of our creative time is building campaigns, but the flows is what actually gets them to convert.
I think there are definitely efficiencies. I can see the opportunity with it and building efficiencies within the team.
All right, here we go. Here's our second of 3 interviews live from KSID this year in May 2026. Welcome back to Add to Cart. My name is Nathan Bush, otherwise known as Bushy. And just quickly, just before we get into today's episode, I know you're pumped for it, but if you like having a cheat sheet to go with your listening, we put one out for every episode of Add to Cart. And we put it in the Add to Cart newsletter, which drops sometime on Monday, whenever I get my stuff together. And it goes out on Monday so that you can either use it as you're listening to the episode, or maybe you don't have time to listen to today's episode, but you want all the goodness out of the episode. That cheat sheet is your guide. So never miss one. Sign up to the Add to Cart newsletter at addtocart.com.au. Now, a big thank you to our sponsors, Klaviyo and Shopify, for making Add to Cart possible. More from both of them a little bit later. But as I said, we are coming to you live today. Well, not live. It was recorded, but it was live at the time from KSID. And this is the second of 3 special episodes that we recorded there. You heard from Ed Hallen, the co-founder of Klaviyo, last week. And today we do talk about Klaviyo. But this is a CRM and email conversation that applies to anyone who wants to get more from their retained audience, no matter what platform you are on. Although Klaviyo is pretty good. But when I knew that we had 3 recording slots available to us at KSID, I got a little bit cheeky. Yes, we've had Ed and we've got a special guest next week, but instead of 3 separate interviews, I cheekily put forward a panel as this middle session. So I wanted to get full value out of having the best Klaviyo people together for the day. And you may remember that previously we've had Greg Taylor, the founder of Step One, on the show, and we've had Ethan Didascalou, who is the founder of July, join us for a very special live show in Brisbane. But today, we're going a level down. We're talking to the people who actually do the work, not the founders who are just out there being the face of it. We're talking to the people actually running the platforms day to day. Don't come for me, Greg and Nathan. I know where you are. Today, we have 3 very special guests. We have Lachi Agnew, who is the head of technology at July, 7 years in, building most of the stack himself. Then we have Hani Rifai, who is the chief digital officer at Step One. They're an ASX-listed bamboo underwear brand chasing $100 million with a team of 50. And lastly, but not leastly by any means, we have Alice Michael, who is the head of e-commerce and operations at APG Co. She's running digital across Sportscraft, SABA and JAG simultaneously. So we're going to get nerdy. We're going to get nerdy on email. We're going to get nerdy on retention. Here it is. Here's Lachi, Hani, and Alice. Alice, Hani, and Lachi, welcome to Add to Cart. What a special treat to have you all in the room together.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
I have to say we're in the hottest podcast room in the history of Earth.
The lights are flaring.
We have a strict 1 hour time frame here, and I know that we've got a lot of opinions, a lot of expertise in the room, and I want to draw it all out. Firstly, I'm going to go around the room. Tell me why you a Klaviyo champion.
So hi, I'm Alice Michael. I'm head of e-commerce operations at APG Co. I am a Klaviyo champion because I have put in place some really great customer engagement strategies and really utilizing the platform to its fullest.
Great. We'll dig into that.
Awesome. Hani Rifai, Chief Digital Officer at Step One. I like being a Klaviyo champion mainly because it really is a powerful feedback loop. And there's probably 2 things. One is like you directly get to tell Klaviyo what's good and what's bad about the platform. And you probably get to see it actually get fixed in real time. And the second thing is just connecting with other brands that are solving different problems and the same problems in different ways to be able to actually be like, hey, you solved this thing. I solved this thing. Like, how do we solve it differently? Could we solve it better? Like what's working, what's not? So
a bit of that happened yesterday, maybe over a few brews as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Lachi.
I'm Lachi. I'm head of tech here at July. I've been here 7 years, so I've kind of touched all the pies I can put my fingers in over the years. But nowadays I'm more on like the integration and like the high level planning side. So I mean like the data where it needs to be, the integrations where they need to be. Klaviyo Champions is exactly what Hani was saying is, I have a lot of opinions on the way tech should be built, and getting my voice heard it was always nice, especially for a platform that we're so invested in.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we've had Ethan
Yeah.
on the podcast years and years ago, and we've had Greg on the podcast. We haven't had anyone from
APG.
But it's actually nice to meet the people who are doing the real work.
He's a funny guy. Ethan's a funny guy.
He's a funny guy. All right, let's start. So, Alice, I want to start with you. I know that one of the first projects you did was moving off Salesforce Marketing Cloud for a very simple reason.
Yeah, so it actually was Exact Target when we were on Marketing Cloud. Yeah, so when Marketing Cloud acquired Exact Target, that's the version we were on. So pretty old. So just to clarify that it's not the new Marketing Cloud.
Not the new shiny cloud.
No, but we
Yes.
had a huge bottleneck, and that was that we needed a developer to build our campaigns. And I don't even think flows existed. We used a third party for abandoned carts. We decided that we needed to be able to scale and remove that risk. So we moved to Klaviyo so that we could do that. And things did change pretty quickly.
Did you do all three brands at once?
All three brands at once. Usually it's a staggered approach. So we get one right and then we roll out. It's usually the smallest brand, which is JAG in our fleet.
How long did that take?
It took about 8 months for all three brands. Yeah. So, and then just after that, we replatformed onto Ecommerce tools as well. It was a bit of a...
Guys love a retouch.
Oh my gosh. It's got to be... We've done 3 in 6 years.
Are you happy with your platforms at the moment?
We are about to build new websites. No, we're not. We're extremely unhappy with 5+.
It's an evolution.
Yes. Yeah. We get stuck where we're traditional retail and really in-store focused a lot, and that's a big portion of our sales. So for us, what we would like is tools that enable our team to be able to make changes and do things quickly. We don't have a huge development budget. So that sort of comes into that change as well, where we couldn't utilize the email to its fullest with just one person. So we moved so that we could scale it.
I guess you having visibility over your end customer isn't probably as clear as these guys.
Not from the in-store. I mean, we've got a lot of customer data, but not from that in-store relationship point of view. It's sometimes hard to tag the customer. Yeah.
Was that part of the decision in replatforming, is like to bring in your POS data and stuff into a unified source of truth?
So we do have a unified source of truth, which we use Omnio. So that's our sort of CDP.
Great guys.
Yeah. Great platform as well. And that sort of powers the data into Klaviyo and then into the in-store experience and on site as well. So we do have that. Yeah. That's kind of a lot to say on that.
That makes sense. Well, I think while we're on the topic of CDP, I now know that you have strong opinions about CDP, and we literally have the B2C CRM ticker going behind our head at the moment.
Classic.
Tell me about your approach, because you're one of the first brands to be on Klaviyo's B2C CRM, which launched last year. Where do you describe your level of integration and use of Klaviyo right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. Like all of our processes are deeply embedded with Klaviyo and with like data-driven marketing thinking just throughout the entire business. So like everything from what data we're collecting, how we're using it, how we're segmenting on it. But then also now what we're doing is looking at things like Customer Agent, Customer Hub, and like how do those act as surfaces that power the other parts of our business. So like, how do we personalize those surfaces, but then also how do we pull data from those surfaces? How do we understand what customers want, what they don't want, to be able to kind of inform our total view of customer through the CDP. Like the CDP is the tech really, but what you're getting is a view of customer. And so it's just like, okay, how do we find the perfect stitching of all these different things together, from our own tech to Shopify, to Klaviyo, to APIs, to to get the most accurate view of who our customer is and how we service them.
Where does that sit?
Klaviyo.
Yeah.
Klaviyo is a pretty good one. Really, the lean stack is like Klaviyo, Shopify, and then we build a bunch of custom stuff on top of that. But I mean, like, it's always been man with tools versus man with tools, right? And so,
all women with tools.
All women with tools. Man in the quotes, mankind, including women. But like, it's always been person with tools versus person with tools.
I didn't mean to trip you up.
That's okay. I'm not tripping.
He had a rehearsal.
But it is even more like that now for a number of reasons. Like the cost of technology, the cost of developing technology, the cost of buying technology is fundamentally lower. And so now everyone has access to the same stuff. Now you have to be smarter, right? And you have to know how to use it better, and you have to know where the value is, and you have to know how to grab it from the customer and really like be like, okay, tell me what you want. right?
And is half that battle knowing how far you can actually push the tool reliably versus what you then have to build yourself using all those connectors?
Yeah, I think so, right? And I think it's like something I've literally said before is that like I'm in an arms race with all my providers, right? I'm in an arms race with Klaviyo, I'm in an arms race with Shopify because I'm not going to wait for them to build it, right? I'm going to build it when I need it and when I think that there's real value in developing a solution. But then Klaviyo will come out and be like, hey, we actually built a better one. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. You guys built a better one. I'll come in and try and improve it, or I'll use your APIs, or we'll build it into our ecosystem some other way.
I've been in the same battle for the last like 5 years with Shopify and Klaviyo. It's like, I'll be like, hey, I really need this feature, like blah, 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 blah. And they'll be like, oh, it's in the roadmap. And I'm like, never happened. I'm going to build it myself. And we've been doing that with like, because we went headless pretty early. Like there's so many things. So it was kind of like, hey, we need this now. And I was just like, I'm just going to build it anyway. And now all the past 2 years we've done is just accelerate that, where you're building around your core platforms. But when you need something, you're going to do it anyway, because that's what you want to do.
Does that mean you minimize plugins and extensions in favor of doing it yourself?
Correct. I mean, you add overhead of managing your own version of it. And then when Shopify and Klaviyo do roll these things out, I usually backtrack and be like, we're just going to do it the normal way.
I think like for me, it's like you have to constantly experiment and constantly see like where the buck stops, and to know like when that build versus buy decision is a good one. Like, you know, sometimes just getting a plugin and paying $80 a month is like, okay, cool, saves everyone's time. Right. But there's other times where you're like, I just don't think that like what other people have built is right. Right. Like we're not really going to extract the value that we think that we need to extract. And so that's when we go, okay, I think we should build this. And there's an actual case for it. But like to Lachi's point, right? Like if Shopify comes out and they build out the platform, or Klaviyo comes out and they build out the platform, I'll always default to them, because I know that they're building an ecosystem that works together. I'm building extensively on top of it, but I know that they're always going to try and build robust, extensible platforms. Like that's why you invest in them, right?
How does that sit with you, Alice, from a large omni-channel organization where things might not move as fast? That build versus buy, can you be as agile as you want in adding new features and functionality?
Not as quick as what these guys are saying, really. We tend to, we still input into the roadmap, but we tend to sit back and wait for it to be released.
Yeah. You've got a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. Each brand has their own initiatives as well. So, you know, if we can slot it in, it might not be a priority as well, is what I'm saying. So it's when it comes out and when it's ready, that's when we'll adopt it.
Do you feel the heat from like competition that can move faster in your category?
Yes. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
How do you think you're going to fix that long term?
Well, hopefully our move to Shopify is just one piece of that puzzle. In the digital space, I would say, yeah, that's quite a big part of it. We're also looking at launching new customer loyalty programs. So at the moment, we've got very old legacy loyalty programs, which is you sign in, you get 10% off your full price purchase. We've got a very, very high tag rate on that, but we're hoping with new loyalty and Shopify that we'll start moving in the right direction. Sorry?
Are you running that through Omnio, new loyalty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the one thing we do have we've almost got too much of is customer data. It's just, so that's not our challenge. We've got that.
That's your competitive advantage, isn't it? How many people you've got coming into your stores every day?
Yeah, we know, birthdays, we know what they like. You know, we've kind of got that part down. It's just how do we use these tools to, accelerate?
And you have to prioritize your data, right? Like you have so much data. I think people just get trapped in like, I have all these different data points. It's like, what's mission critical? What should you be focusing on? What does that say about customers?
Yeah.
Like, I could analyze things till the cows come home, right? And I have. And then you just end up zooming out and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just do this much simpler. And normally the result is better.
But also you can't focus on everything at once. You've got to pick and choose battles a little bit.
Yeah.
Picking and choosing battles, I'd like to talk about email. We'll start email because I feel like there's a natural progression before we get into AI, and I'm really hesitant to unlock the AI really early in the conversation because I'm never getting out of that.
We'll need another hour.
We will get into it, but I want to understand first, Lockie, you talked a lot around mastering automated flows.
Yeah.
Tell me about that journey at July, because you've actually been on a journey yourself from a D2C retail to having your own stores to having stockists.
Yeah.
How have you thought about flows?
It's really interesting in July, flows. They're a big rev driver for us for a couple reasons. The biggest one being there's a long purchase period between wanting and buying for premium luggage. It's at a pretty high price point, especially if you're buying like a set. So it's almost like $1.50. It's expensive, and it's a commitment because it's lifetime. Like you're really thinking about it. It's a thought about decision that you're making.
I have one of the OGs that Ethan brought with him when he did the live podcast, and it's got add to cart monogram on it. I'm hanging on to that forever. I was like,
we'll get you some new ones.
No, I don't need a new one though. It's an OG. It's great.
Yeah, that's a relic at that point.
Yeah, it's great.
So there's a long purchasing decision, right? So we spend Like majority of our marketing time, a lot of our creative time is building campaigns because we want these beautiful campaigns. We want to sell the dream of travel. Like there's so much that gets put into it, so much time and effort. But because people are going on the website so much, they're not purchasing off the campaign. They're purchasing off the flows because they're going on multiple times. We have their email, they're coming on, but the flows is what actually gets them to convert because they're thinking about it for so long and we're getting them back. So like no matter what, our main rev drive will always be our flows.
Gotcha. And how long are you setting up those flows for? How long is a customer in flow state?
Hopefully the dream is within a week or two. That's the sweet spot. It can be months.
Yeah.
It can be months. And they usually end up going through the same flows. We're actually doing a big body of work of reimagining because we have such beautiful retail stores. We have such beautiful experiences we go in there. And we've kind of felt recently that because we've elevated so much in the physical retail space that our emails are kind of like bread and butter emails. It's like we're not elevating here. We're not doing those things. So we're actually hopefully by July rolling out brand new flows. But there's also a lot of stuff that we want to do around first party data with them. So if you know when someone's traveling, right, how nice would it be if like a week before your trip, you're like, we're so excited for your trip in XYZ. Your suitcase that you bought, this would be a perfect trip, or add-on packing sales around your actual trip. Because usually, like, it's almost like 70-80% of customers are buying for a trip.
Yeah.
Like, you're not casually buying luggage for and maybe one-off
to
occasion.
store it for a few months before you go somewhere.
But to have that data and to do all that and really elevate our flows to be much more personal, first-party data rich is kind of the direction we want to go. We want them to be gorgeous, look like the retail stores, so that elevated experience that you're getting when you go and touch the physical product in store, you kind of get on the digital side as well.
Any fashionista knows that if you want to make smart wardrobe choices, everything needs to live in the same wardrobe. Not half your clothes in the spare room, shoes in the garage, accessories in the car. Princess Polly realised the same thing was true for their marketing. As they scaled globally and opened physical stores, their email, SMS, app, and in-store data were all living in different platforms, which makes it pretty hard to scale a great customer experience at scale. So they pulled everything into one place, Klaviyo. By consolidating their channels and customer data, Princess Polly unlocked a clearer view of the customer journey, smarter automations, and faster global scale. In Q3 last year alone, they drove 2.8 times year-on-year global revenue growth, with over 60% of that Klaviyo revenue coming from automated flows. Even better, flow revenue grew more than 4 times year-on-year. Turns out when everything's in one wardrobe, picking the winning outfit gets a lot clearer. If you want your marketing to scale with style, head to klaviyo.com/au and see how brands like Princess Polly are doing it.
Because you're not heavily promotional, are you? You do the odd spend and save.
Yeah.
But it's not ever like 20% off site-wide kind of stuff.
No, I mean, we have for a few times, we have a warehouse sale, which does really well, but discounting isn't really in our warehouse.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Black Friday.
Luxury, baby.
Yeah, but also like when we do big discounts, it's not like 20% off flat. It's like buy some stuff, pair up what suitcase you want.
Double drape still.
Yeah. But also it is premium luggage. It is lifetime.
Yeah.
It's great value for what you're getting, but it's so easy to fall in this. We had a funny word for it, but it's like this discounting hell. It's just kind of like you to race to the bottom to who can do the biggest discount. And all you're doing is killing profits for people that are probably going to purchase anyway.
That's right.
I think the other thing for your category, right, same thing with us, is like if you do discount, they buy the luggage, they're not going to come back for a very long time, right? It's not like
next discount.
Yeah, like, well, but I mean, even for luggage, right? Even if there isn't a discount, you just bought your bags.
Yeah.
So it's different with something that's like a perishable or it's like a supplement brand. Like you go on sale, you got great order volume, they chew through it and then they have to come back.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a test and try strategy, but like you're essentially cannibalizing future sales.
Yeah.
Right. And so you kind of need to build that into like, it's bad money. It's not good revenue.
Most of our marketing is acquisition. It's like, because we've got lifetime warranty. It's very good. We stand on the shoulder of our products. Like we stand by them. People don't purchase more than once very often. A lot of the time it's just one single purchase. And then the second one's maybe some packing sales or some stuff that they like.
Yeah.
Bags are a little bit of a different game. We've gone into that in the past 2 years, but acquisition is such a big part of it. And
what do you do with your customers then after they bought the ideal kit, they bought their bag, they bought their packing kits? Do you just go, well, it's been nice knowing you?
No, this is what we're trying to get really good at in the next 12 months is if you really look after customers, it's like we're trying to turn acquisition into more acquisition, right? If we've got a customer and they're not going to purchase again, you can win on word of mouth. It's like if you are the best customer service, you've got good post-purchase flows around like, we want to be sending you emails around like how to best look after your suitcase. What if it comes back from the airport, fresh? How do you do all these things for that particular luggage that you've bought? if you do all this post-purchase really premium stuff, you can get word of mouth because someone's like, hey, July, it's not just when you purchase, they're looking after you for the next 5 years. And then that's acquisition again. It's like you can get more customers just by looking after your customers.
And there's probably a bit of gifting in there. I'm thinking back to my situation in that we're a July family. My wife's got everything. I've got everything. It's fantastic. And it was my sister-in-law's 40th birthday. What are we going to get? My wife was the first to say the brand new July luggage set, blah, 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 blah. So she was still buying, but it just wasn't for her.
Yeah. We say it a lot, but that's really hard to optimize for.
Yes.
So it isn't something that we actively do. Like we do stuff like we're working with like wedding registries and places where people traditionally buy gifts. But the biggest thing is if you just look after your customer, they're going to be your number one fan.
Yeah.
And you see in the airport, like if you go see someone in July, you're like, hey, that's you guys. And like you have like really earnest conversations at the airport just because you're part of the same little club.
How does it compare to undies? Obviously, you can't do that in the airport with undies. Comparing undies and also a little bit more, I'd say the replenishment might be a little bit more often.
Potentially. I mean, like we have a lot of customers that are huge advocates, right? And like people that have been around like OGs forever, and we actually saw there was someone left like a Facebook comment the other day to a link of like a blog that they have about all their Step 1 undies, a guy in the UK, and he's literally collected like every single limited edition print, like since the beginning of time, like cataloged them. He's like, please, I'm looking for this one print. You guys haven't re-released it. Like I would do anything for this print, right? So we have a lot of brand advocacy and still word of mouth is really strong for us. Like we do have a great product, right? We have an excellent product. Like you won't get the type of zero CAC acquisition and refer a friend stuff if we didn't. So it's really strong. Like in terms of like showing it off, people love it. Like people love to have the waistband and like all the different cool colors and people love to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to think about repeat purchases and what that looks like. Like, I was just saying before to someone that like, you might come in and men will come and buy a 7-pack or a 15-pack of undies or something. And then it's like, okay, cool. What next, right? So your exact question, Nathan, is like, what next? And the answer is like, we have a lot of things that now we're working on to really bring them back into that ecosystem. Like we've started doing complementary products. We do socks, sleepwear. We just released our new launch of like athletic compression stuff, which is looking really cool. But even our limited edition prints, right? Like that's a huge source of incrementality for us. And the way I think about it is literally like this is like, you can come in and you buy your 15 pairs of black and navy and gray that you're going to wear every day. And you're like, okay, cool. I don't need to look at Step 1 ever again. Oh, cool. They have like some cool new print, St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day. That's a sick print. I really want that. Yeah. Right. And so, that's true incrementality.
So it's like giving them what they need, but then a little bit of what they want.
100%. Like something fun and cool. And like, we have we pride ourselves on being a funny company. Like we all have a sense of humor. We love a bit of a gag and a joke. And like, we'll do some really funny, cool stuff and do some naughty campaigns and things like that. Like we're a big fan of cut through marketing and people resonate with that. Like they want like an authentic brand that speaks with humor and gets them and is like, can say a swear word and they all be fine. So it really is something.
Question about the flows.
Yeah.
Like how many flows do you have running?
We have the basics. It's like browser abandonment, cart abandonment, checkout abandonment, welcome flows, but we're starting to edge into now RFM segments. So like if someone is like a loyal customer and they're moving to at risk, we want to send very direct emails about that. So that's kind of what we're building out at the moment is like RFM switches. So the second that they're switching from different categories of buyers, we're kind of targeting them a little bit. Again, it's a little bit tough.
For those who might not know RFM, can you give us a brief explanation?
Yeah, RFM, I mean, I forget what it stands for. It's something brief frequency and monetary. But it kind of is just like an XY axis. And depending on how customers are purchasing, the amount of money they're spending, how frequently they're buying, it kind of places them into different keyword groups. So it's kind of like you've got like loyals and champions, which is like your repeat purchases. They're there all the time purchasing from you. You kind of have your pre-purchase customers. So like people that, I forget the names of them, but they're kind of like anyone that is like browsing the site, about them, but they have a high propensity to buy. And then you've got things that are like at risk, churned, and like inactive. And a customer will always live in one of these groups. But the really interesting thing is when they switch. So like depending on the events that they're on site for, they're going to switch over the course of them being a customer for you no matter what. They're going to move across these different categories. But the interesting thing is when they trigger across these different categories, usually you can get very targeted messaging. And that's kind of like where we're thinking about putting our discounts in is kind of like, we don't need to do a blast 20% off the website. But if we've got a customer that purchased one small bag and that particular type of customer has purchased before and they bought packets of something, you can get very targeted message when they go from a loyal customer to an at-risk customer. And we want to really nail down on that. So it's much more targeted on the messages that you're sending at the time that they need to purchase or the time that they're likely to purchase or need to purchase.
Yeah. Are you guys using RFM?
We are. So we use, it's marketing analytics within Klaviyo to to power the RFM cohorts. We've just enabled it, so we haven't quite built flows off it yet. But the idea would be that you'd have an abandoned cart, but then you'd have one specific to your champions, you'd have one specific to your at-risk group, and then you'd have one specific to, I don't know, the inactives, for example. And all would have maybe we are on the discount drug, so we're happy to give a discount. So we would use this discount or maybe another service that we can try and get them over the line with. But that would be the example of how we're using or planning to use it in the future.
Okay, makes sense.
I think that for us, like probably the RFM modeling is not as mature from Klaviyo as I would like. So we've kind of built out our own kind of custom modeling of like what those cohorts look like who are our champions, who are our loyalists and things like that, because the modeling's good, but it's not malleable by category, right? So like what does a champion look like for someone else is probably not what a champion looks like for me.
That's what we're battling with as well.
Yeah.
It's like a bag purchaser versus a luggage buyer. Very different.
Yeah. So it's really difficult to kind of use that as a one size fits all. And so what we're finding is like, we're just layering in, like we're basically doing the same thing, but with different segments, right? And now Klaviyo has added like, moves in or out of a segment. You can essentially create the exact same functionality as you would have done with an RFM like flow, right? So
are you running that through like custom attributes?
Yes. Yeah. So we run the model, it gets piped back to the property, that becomes a segment, and then you're good. We used to do it with just like arbitrary like rules and stuff, but we've just become a little bit more advanced. Like we have all of our data stuff in BigQuery now, and we can really run some cool models and then pipe that back in. But yeah, I mean, to what Lachi said before around like discounting and flows, like I think that's the future. Like I think everyone had this big discounting drug thing, and we were certainly guilty of it as well. But the future really looks like discounting to solve a problem, not discounting to plug a revenue or profit gap. And those problems are like, we need to move old stock, or we want to incentivize people to try something new, or we want to...
You're trying to drive a behavior.
Yeah.
Very specific, not for everyone.
It's Pavlovian, right? Like you want to do this thing? Here's a discount. You're like, here you go. Just keep following us, right?
But some customers need that. Like not all, and by doing blankets, you're giving discounts to people that don't need that big broad 20% off. But some customers really do need that 20% to get across the line.
And that's where like all the actual personalization CDP type tech really makes a huge difference, because you might think like, oh, okay, well, what percent of people didn't need the pop-up? What percent of people didn't need this discount? Oh, we'll test it, whatever. But again, that's like a big swing, right? Like it's just a brute force. Like ultimately what you want to do is be bringing in things that are like machine learning tools that understand that specific consumer in that moment, where they've browsed, what they've done, who they are, and saying, I think your propensity to convert is pretty high, right? I'm not going to give you a pop-up. Like we'll deploy something else to collect your email, but it's not going to include a discount versus someone else where it's like, I think this person's pretty close based on their buying behavior, but I don't think that their propensity to convert is like over X. Therefore, we're just going to nudge them these different ways, right? To try and get them there. And there's a bunch of tools out there that do that. But I think that the philosophy is there where we have so much data now, like let's use it, right?
Do you think that's part of the problem? Because the philosophy's there, and like you hear this all the time around dynamic segments and moving people in and out based where they are on the customer journey. I'm literally putting in a personalization tool at the moment, a well-known personalization tool. It's not dynamic at all. It's very manual of moving customers in and out of segments. Are we waiting for the tech to catch up with the theory?
I think you can do it with any platform.
Are you saying it's operator error?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I was like, I just built it. It's all good.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah.
But like, the thing is, like these platforms, like we've implemented two, didn't like either of them, and because of the same thing. Because I could do it, like Hani could do it. Your day-to-days couldn't. Like the people in the business that are actually using these tools, it was just too complicated. They didn't want to spend time to do something that was small incremental gains.
Because they're doing 1,000 other things.
They're doing 1,000 other things that maybe will have easier ROI to measure. But you can do it with anything. It's just sometimes you have to like go into the back end and check the actual events and pipe things to different places. A little bit.
I think the other thing is like, yes, there's all this personalization. Yes, there's all this data. Yes, there's all these tools. But like people overcook it, right? Like it's so easy to overcomplicate things. Like for the most part, you can really just test and validate a bunch of assumptions and then be able to action it, right? So like if you just make a guess, you're like, okay, what would a customer do on this page that would signal to me that they're either not confident or they can't find the right information, or they do that. Okay, their dwell time is going to be a bit higher. They probably click the size and fit thing a few times. They probably scroll up and down. Cool. Why don't you guys just run a really simple test? You can go and generate the code in Claude or whatever you want to do, right? Go and generate a simple test. If these conditions are met, deploy pop-up and just A/B test it. So easy. You don't need to go spend $20,000 on a personalization tool from whoever.
But also you could
Too
figure
late.
out what those.
Is that a block before?
Next time you want to spend $20,000, you just give it to me. Don't worry about it.
As long as I get some undies.
You can figure out what that type of purchase behavior is
Yeah.
for a particular site as well. Just like install like your Hotjars, your Clarity. So
Yeah.
you can just watch a few sessions and be like, this person I don't think is going to purchase just from what they're doing. Like you don't have to be a CRO genius to go watch like 10 videos and be like, these are the purchase behaviors that I see that aren't turning into a conversion.
Makes sense. And so obviously the ideal scenario is that we have these dynamic segmentations where we can trigger the right flows at the right time based on behavior, based on what they're spending, based on recency.
Mhm.
Is there, I'm going to direct this to you, Alice, is there a place still for demographic segmentation in email and SMS?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely for us, because you've got the men's and women's splits of both clothing and yeah, I do think there is that. We do see within our business a higher portion of women buying for men. So a lot of our content is directed to women and to buy for men. But yes, I do think there is still a place in it.
I would challenge the question, and like the presupposition of the question is that like you have these segments, right? And you're building out segments, and then are you going to build these behavioral demographics into these segments? Like I think the North Star here is you don't have segments, right? The North Star is it's true one-to-one personalization, right? Like I shouldn't have to know the behavioral demographic segments and traits of this person. Like the ecosystem and the tooling and the tech and your CDP and all this other stuff should know all of that. It should eat it. And then it should be like, I know what's best for Jess, for David, for whoever. Because like even to the men's and women's thing, right? Like we have our women's category as well. And you know, we do that kind of segmenting now. I want to get better at it. But in a North Star world, it's like if Jess has like a husband and kids, like I don't want to be sending her an email with just women's stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I've lost an opportunity there to sell her some men's stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how are we generating this on a one-to-one basis where stop thinking about like segments? Maybe you can think about segments post that, right? And use that as a diagnostic tool. But the way you want to be talking to people is really one-to-one. And that's the goal.
Like segments and like the crazy flows that you see in some Klaviyo accounts are just so that we can get really pointy into the messaging that we're doing for a particular customer, depending on what they looked at, what they're purchasing, all the things, right? They're just mental models that we've built around to do that. But like with AI coming into marketing, these things are mental models that are going to be a thing of the past. Like 100%, they're just a way for us to knuckle down and then do set messaging depending on different groups and different events and all the things. The second that we can get like one-to-one communication via AI, branded how you want it to look, doing all the things, that's the future of email marketing.
I agree. And I think it's really exciting. We've been talking about one-to-one communication for a long time and we've been stuck with these things.
Now you can do it.
But if you look at what's happening in social, that's why I think it's exciting for email and CRM because we'll be able to do it. Social was like, oh yeah, we'll be able to do one-on-one. And then they were like, actually, we're going to hide the algorithm and you can't target anyone anymore. Just give us your creative and we'll do the one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's like they've taken that away.
Yeah.
That was the promise. So we've got power now back through our CRM to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about AI. We've uncovered it. We've lifted the lid. I feel we've got
Can of
what we
worms.
I'm going
Much
to ask
you got.
each of you. We talked about running experimentations with AI before. You said that you're playing around a lot. I'm going to start with you, Alice.
Yeah, we're not really. So
No?
very short answer from me. We're very mature in space. Yeah. Even with the Klaviyo AI features, I mean, we're using a little bit of it, not much. The brands, they've got very strict brand guidelines and how they like content to be displayed. So we're not able to fully utilize the AI content feature. So yeah, and we're just getting into building flows with AI and not even so much in Klaviyo, but we've just got an enterprise account with Claude to try and use that. So just we're very, very early days. So not much going on.
I think that's a normal story that I'm
But
seeing and hearing in
it's a
corporate
journey.
retail.
Yeah, it's a journey. We do want to get there. We're encouraging it, but it's it's not as balanced as what some of the other brands are going through. You know, but connects it all up to emails and you've got bots sending emails for them and all sorts of stuff, building the content, writing the SM, all of that sort of stuff. We're not quite there yet.
Do you find that there is an opportunity for the digital and the e-com team to be leading the way, at least from an operational perspective, even if it's not creating the content?
Yeah, I think there are definitely efficiencies. I can see the opportunity with it and building efficiencies within the team. I think there's a little bit of an education piece and even a little bit of the brands sort of need to let go of their image so strictly and kind of accept that if we want to move really quickly, that we have to let things.
Is there also a piece there around actually, if we get this right, if we set this up in the right way, we can actually have a stronger brand?
Build up it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think the other thing is like, I think that there are lots of ways where you really can short circuit like the brand piece. And because I think that like a lot of the conversations I'm hearing as well is like, well, it's not reaching our brand. It's not the premium feel. It's not doing this. But even when Lockie was talking before around like, we provide luxury travel experiences, right? Like we're creating this luxury piece of luggage for you to go and explore the world. And that's a premium thing that we want you to feel good about. Like even something that we've implemented is like one-to-one email personalization based on first party data. So like if you go to our search and you type in like, what are the best undies for basketball, right? Like we'll personalize the product page, but then if you abandon, you'll get a one-to-one email from like customer support that'll be like, hey, we saw you looking at why these were great for basketball. Like here's the exact reason why these are amazing.
Walk me through this again.
So you go to our AI search. Yep. You go to our search, like natural language search.
On-site search.
What are the best undies for basketball? Yep. Like this problem really came from a place where we have a lot of undies that are relatively similar, and people need to be able to do product discovery, right? And so, okay, what are the best for X? What's the best for tennis? What's the best for paddle?
And have you got one search that's just natural AI language? Yep. You haven't kind of got the separate, how you're saying
it's all together.
And Amazon's just brought it together.
Yeah, it's all together. Because then you're also able to run analytics over it, all goes to the same database, all this other stuff. So you go and search that. We'll personalize the page. We pipe that context back into Klaviyo, right, into our CDP. So now we know you like basketball. We know you're looking for stuff. This is your question. And then when you go and abandon, we literally generate a one-to-one email for you that's like, hey, this is why it's great for basketball. Reach out if you need anything, right?
Cool. I'm building the exact same thing at the moment.
Yeah, so
I'm literally building this.
So literally what I was thinking about for you, right, was, ahead of time, capture the data around like, where are you going on vacation? Yeah. When are you traveling? When are you doing this? Then after their vacation, or even before, send them a one-to-one personalized email. Hey, I know your trip's tomorrow. Just hoping your luggage is all good. Reach out if you need anything. Here's some personalized tips for XYZ locations, right? And go pull an API. Be like, these are the top things to do in Italy.
We're kicking this off as a test in physical retail because it's much easier to capture those things and put it on a customer profile in store, because like part of the retail handbook and how they talk to customers is usually to lead with when to travel date, like where are you going? Yeah. And if they're already talking about this, it takes 2 seconds for a retail staff member to just go be like, this person's leaving this date, this one, leave a little message for them to send maybe a couple of days before their date to be like, hey, hope you have a great trip, blah, 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 blah. So that's going to be our first rollout of like that very one-to-one. Yeah.
Is it easy for your retail team to put that information in? Because that's usually the break point.
Yeah, so with Shopify POS, so I'm just building like a small, they just do a little widget app with the things, just filling out on a customer and just saves it, and then that pipes back to Klaviyo.
Okay, yeah, cool, great. I love that basketball example.
That's great. I can't believe I'm literally working on that at the moment.
What's the last experiment you've nerded out on with AI?
So we made a decision in like December last year that we want to get serious about AI. So first half of this year was me just building a lot of cool tooling. It finally rolled out last month. So it's pretty much the core of it is the only way that AI is good is if your data's good. Mm-hmm. And your AI can get real, accurate, up-to-date data fast. So we've kind of built like a data lake essentially that pretty much is sourcing all of our main sources. So like you got like Shopify, Klaviyo, Deputy for Retail, Meta, Google, all the things that people ask about a lot. And it's built on small tools. So Claude can go and fetch like the one-on-one individual things from each file. So if you go and ask Claude now, because it's all plugged in via MCP connectors, anyone in the business can go ask like, what are the top performing ads, and should we be running these as any of the email flows, or is there any like cross system things that are commonalities? Because that's where it's really powerful, right? Because if you're just looking at your Meta dashboard, you're just looking at Klaviyo dashboard, you're just looking at your Shopify numbers, you're not going to see all the interconnected parts. Yeah. Of like, sure, rev was down this day, but also spend was down. No one was opening emails. Maybe there was something else going on. Maybe no one was excited to go travel because weather was shit, and like region by region. So like Melbourne might be popping off, but Sydney's not. And these are the things that AI is really good at, because it can go fetch all these like really raw data points and do great insights, as long as your data's there.
Yeah. And I think as long as you've got a point of view as well, you go, I think this is happening.
Yeah.
Test me on it. Give me other ideas. But you've got to go with an opinion, because if you just open up, go, tell me what this might mean.
100%.
You'll get it.
If you were an idiot before, you're just an idiot with AI.
Yeah.
Right.
So my big thing is
to have conviction.
The way that founders think is really interesting, because they usually have very pointy questions that require very pointy things and different data points. And they usually have to go talk to like 6 people to get everything they want to have an insight. And I've kind of built everything around Ethan in the way that
That's scary.
he talks to the business. It's like, he will usually have this one idea that's like so dumb, but it might make sense if all these data points line up. And he's now able to, like, at the speed of his own thoughts, like run through ideas, figure out whether this is a good idea, whether this would work, depending on like whether old things work or whether ads work.
And so you enterprise Claude throughout the organization?
Yeah. So that there's no data.
Yeah.
So they don't train
it's like
data.
lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay, great. and everyone's got access to the same data. So
Yeah.
even if you're a merchandiser, you can go in and go, hey, how's this performing in email this week?
Correct. Because we ran so siloed for so long,
Yeah.
different things. Claude's now the source of truth. That's called Pulse is the system we got, keeping your finger on the pulse.
Hey.
But that's not the source of truth. And like we never had traditional BI dashboarding, right?
Yeah.
It was just one of the things that lagged behind. And my job last year was to build BI, but I built this instead because I'm like,
Skipped it.
I skipped it entirely because what you have to do is, right, you have to have a pretty senior person to be able to read a graph, interpret that as insights, and then take insights into actions. Claude, you can skip that. You just be like, what are the actions I need to do for ads today?
Yeah.
And it will go grab the data, interpret, do all the things, something that would have taken a mid to senior person a day, 2 days to go figure out what they should be doing. And it does it all instantly straight into action.
We've all been there, right? Slipping on a great looking pair of shoes only to regret it a couple of hours later. Who knew that blisters could get blisters? Well, the founders of Frankie 4 did, and that's why they've created a line of stylish, podiatrist designed footwear that don't just look good, they actually feel good too. But what began as an online success story quickly stepped into the real world with retail stores opening across the country. And when they moved to the Shopify Plus plan and rolled out Shopify POS in-store, Frankie 4 really hit their stride. Now everything works together, from online browsing to in-store buying. It's one smooth, unified commerce experience for both customers and the Frankie 4 team. And with the Shopify App Store, they're able to test new features quickly to see what works. It's paying off too, with a 170% increase in site visits, a 25% drop in return rates, and more happy feet than ever. Streamlined, stable, seriously stylish. That's Frankie 4 on Shopify. To read more success stories like this, search Shopify case studies online.
How do you reckon this would go?
I was going to say, it's a worry, isn't it? Because you just kind of go, yeah, it really does. Like, it kind of takes thinking away. Like, as these new, juniors start and
Juniors have it tough.
coming through university, I kind of wonder.
But surely they're the hungriest, right? Like
No.
they can absorb information so fast, right? Like that's where hiring is so important, right? Like you have to hire for attitude.
Yeah,
Like
it
you
has
have to hire for coachability and for attitude.
Mhm.
And like you can see A+ players when they're juniors, right? You see them. You're like, you are a rock star.
Yeah.
Like
Don't do anything to figure it out.
you are a killer.
Yeah.
Like you'll go and do it at home. You'll figure out the tools. You'll work it out. And it's never been easier for them to learn and absorb so much, right? And so there's this rate of learning that's like hyper exponential now. And actually something I was saying to someone here at KSID was like, he was talking about, we're an 80-year-old business and it's hyper enterprise and we have all these things and there's all these roadblocks, but we're just going to take it day by day and kind of grow it slowly. And I said, well, that's great, but there's a difference between growing and falling really slowly, right? And there's also such a thing in my brain as AI inflation, which is if you're adopting AI like 5% week on week, year on year, whatever it is, everyone else is adopting it at 20%, like that's AI inflation, right? And so you actually are not growing. You're fundamentally net negative. And in an ecosystem where the barrier for entry is so low, you just can't compete, right? And so that's why I was asking about your competitors before, because sure, they might not have the legacy stuff and the retail footprint, all that stuff, but could they spin up a digital presence faster than ever? Could they spin up all the assets faster than ever? Do they have the preciousness of the brand that you guys have? No, right? But could that almost make their brand an even better brand, build it, create a moat faster, better, attack the right audiences? Potentially.
Yeah.
Right. And so those are the things that I think, and I used to run digital at like a $300 million FMCG business with heaps of enterprise stuff. So I know that it can be really slow, but I think to all the executives, right, you have to really take a look in the mirror and just think like, do I want to win? Right. And you just have to be honest with yourself, because if 5% year on year is enough, okay, cool. Then go and say it's going to take 3 years of steering committee to get Claude. But if you want to be the best and deliver the best outcomes and be the best for your customers, right? Then you need to be serious about ripping some red tape away.
Some of the conversations I was having today as well is a lot of people are like really scared or they don't know where to start. But it literally feels like 15 years ago when Google decided to be a thing, it'd be like, just Google it. Claude knows so much about AI. Like when someone goes and asks me like a really pointy AI question, I just go and ask Claude anyway. So I'm just like, just talk to AI about AI. And you figure it out yourself.
I just use Whisper and as my function key and talk into it and go, hey, I'm thinking, I'm not a developer by any means. I'm a shit developer, but I've learned how to be a bad developer. I go, I'm thinking about building this. This is what I needed to do. This is the outcome. How would you build it? And it'll go, I do this, and this. Do a spec doc and goes,
do you want me to build it?
Yeah.
Let's start. Let's chunk it down.
But even at a non-technical level, right? We're talking about at the moment, it's like just setting really in-depth brand guidelines so that we can have for tone of voice, copy docs that AI can just exactly replicate. We'll get everything on point. And the marketing team came to me and they asked how to write an AI-ready copy doc. And I was like, ask Claude. Claude will write you the guidelines to write a copy doc. We'll write the copy because we know what we want. But the guidelines for it, Claude can do that.
I think to your point, Hani, is really interesting, especially around enterprise organizations where we're saying, actually, we need to move slow because we need to take the team on the journey and we need to upskill them. I'm like, for the last 50 years, we've been asking teams who aren't technology native to learn how to use enterprise systems. Like you think of BI tools.
Yeah.
They're not intuitive at all.
And
all
this
of a
is
sudden,
20 times
we're
more
gonna go,
intuitive.
here's a text box. Tell us what you want to find out about. Like the actual on-ramping for teams is nowhere near as scary as what people think. Data security, absolutely. You've got to be careful.
Yeah.
But there are certifications. There's, all the information.
I think in a lot of ways, like the enterprise market has even more value, right? Because in all these giant businesses, and I've seen it, right? Like if you think like, oh, you have an old ERP and you have another thing and another system, another thing, like, oh, what do? We're either going to hire people to fill those gaps, right? Take things and do exports and expensive, time consuming, slow, mistakes, or we're going to go build this really complicated middleware and hire engineering teams and do all it together. Like, I think that there's going to be a whole new market where it's like, okay, I'll just build agents to replace the headcount thing. They don't need even API access, right? The agents will just control browsers and go and do it. And they'll just go and do all the manual work that enterprise businesses have been throwing people at. Now, once you remove the people from that equation, like things get faster because every person brings in a communication tax, a bureaucracy tax, a process tax. And so the more streamlined your business is with people that are making critical decisions about the way the business can move, the faster you'll move, right? Like executives and even like senior leaders in a business, like they have one job and it's to make very few high quality decisions. Everything else obfuscates that. And it's about signal to noise.
Is there a big risk there? Because if I'm putting myself in Greg's shoes or Ethan's shoes, and I've got Hani here, I've got Lachi here who are just training up their bots and letting them run riot. They're streamlining the workforce. They're creating amazing content. They're doing all this great stuff. You guys disappear. Who's looking after the agents?
We were actually talking about this yesterday. Tech's going to be an accelerant over the next couple of years. You need to buckle up and just like cop on the chin that you need some really good tech hires in your business. Because if you want to start doing cool stuff, especially the enterprise level or a little bit bigger, if you want to be on the bandwagon of this and you want to get everything out of it, get some tech hires. But if you've got one and you're worried that they're going to up and go, for sure, this person is managing infrastructure. Get two then, if that's your then concern. It's so important though that if you do want to do all this cool stuff and you do want to bridge gaps, you want to build cool platforms, you want to do all the cool stuff that comes with AI, there's no out of the box solution that's good yet.
No.
You need good.
But you need to know what's in place and you need to know how things will work.
I think that there's probably a few things, right? Like for me, it's simpler than ever to set things up, and it's way more simple than people think. Like to set up an MCP, like tech guys love to throw these acronyms around: MCP, API, LLM, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, you're just like sending some data to a thing, the thing comes back with data, right? And even from like a UI perspective or like on a computer, like it's actually very easy to set up. Like just go and watch a YouTube video. But I think we have all
do
this
it in like 20 minutes and deploy it.
Yeah, exactly, right? But there's all this mysticism around AI. And I think like if you really bring it back to like, I'm not saying everyone needs to understand how the models work, but understand like as we move into the next generation, like what is mission critical for anyone in the business to understand? Right? When do I use an MCP? When do I connect one? What is it? Right? Those are like questions that are going to be durable truths from now on and things that you should know. So in terms of de-risking, like, you have these tech guys and all this other stuff. Well, everyone should know about it. Everyone should know what it is. Everyone should know how to set up an MCP. Everyone should know how to do it.
Reading about it, get Claude to write your do a video.
Yeah,
podcast,
listen to a podcast about it. But like there's a
the
million
docs,
ways to
whatever you
learn
need.
it, right? Like I've learned a bajillion skills on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's just my way of doing it, right? I learned how to program on YouTube. I learned how to do Photoshop on YouTube. I learned how to do everything on YouTube, right? My entire life is YouTube. And now you have AI, right? And AI is even better to learn on. And so, I mean, it's all out there for the taking, right? Like I said, the barrier for entry is so low.
Not learning is a choice at this point.
Yeah.
Like if you're not learning how to do this stuff,
Yeah.
like sure you don't
It's a new standard.
you don't have to be a coder, you don't have to be all these things, you don't have to be cracked out deploying out websites for your marketing team. You don't need to be doing all that. But if you don't know the basics, you're choosing not to learn on purpose.
Yeah. I agree.
It's so available and it's so easy. Like none of like MCP sounds like a scary thing. It's not. Like it literally takes 30 seconds to go read what it is, and you'll know that acronym for the rest of your life.
And I saw Alice before when we were talking about talent coming through. You're like, oh, I don't think we're quite there yet. To get your opinion, if you were coming through in e-commerce and maybe even CRM, because there's a lot of CRM jobs out there at the moment, especially at entry level. I don't think there's the talent to meet the demand.
100%.
What would you upskill in? Like, where would you put your attention if you're coming through?
I think I would put I think it's more about the grit, like the attitude of yourself than it is about the skill set. I agree with Hani when he says that. Gosh, I don't even know. Like I'm trying to take myself back to like one specific skill. Like learn data, learn how everything works, how everything's connected, especially in ecom. It's like the basics. I always say, if you're going to work in ecom, my biggest piece of advice is to set up your own website. And actually like, just even if it's like a Shopify basic, like just so you can understand how things work and see things in motion.
And there's plenty of small business owners out there that if you put your hand up and you said, I'm really interested in Shopify and Klaviyo, I'm happy to spend
I've built my own site.
8 hours a day.
I would love that. I would think that's a really strong candidate. And then just the grit and attitude really for me. It's like the passion. Like if they've gone and at university built a website and then come through and they're, showcasing that and they've got that attitude, then I would take them on. Yeah.
I think the individual tools are going to change so much over the next couple of years, but the ability to learn how to learn is crazy.
Yeah.
Like being able
to want to learn.
Yeah. That's something that like you really can't teach. Like if you try and teach someone how to go look something up, like it's already too late in my opinion, genuinely. It's like you should be hungry to learn how to do things. And like, because it's going to change so much in the next 2 years, if you're not willing to change mindsets, change workflows, change skills, you're going to live fine.
I think you need to find, like, I always think of this thing, which is like, I want strategic practitioners. And what I mean by that is I want people that can think big picture, but do it every day, right? Like they understand the brand and creative strategy, but they're in the meta account. They understand like CRM and retention, but they're looking at email flows, right? Like they get the whole breadth and depth of it. And you need people that like, I think that we can talk about like, they have to love learning. For me, it's like learning in service of something. So be problem led, have a problem you want to solve, like find people that are problem oriented and be like, I love this problem, right? How am I going to solve that? And you'll find, at least in my experience, that when you find those people, they will not stop until that problem is solved. And if that means learning 500 different tools and learning how to be a graphic designer and learning how to write code and learning how to do this and learning how to build an MCP, like they'll figure it out because it's in service to their purpose, which is the problem. And you just have to like want it,
have a genuine passion for it. Yeah.
Did you guys all go to university?
No, I'm a dropout. I did 6 monts.
6 months?
Yeah.
I
went to university.
No, I went to uni.
Would you do it again?
Oh, I mean, they paid me to go to uni, so I'll take the money.
I would probably say yes,
but
because of the vibes.
The life skills.
I think it's actually entirely different now. I think that the ecosystem's entirely changed. Like when I hire, I don't care if people have a university degree. Like I assess on output and outcome. But I think like, even I was actually speaking to someone who's moved from the US, like come here to study, and they just said like, the ecosystem here is awful. Just like there's no engagement in classes anymore. Like people don't rock up. Everything is remote. Like people, just not engaging, not making friends. And like for me, like, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of problems with standard tertiary education. And I was already building stuff before, during, after uni and had side projects and things. So like it wasn't really for me. But like the structure that's around tertiary education cannot mirror real life and the rate that we're changing in real life. And so I'm just like, guys, I don't care how you learned it, but like, can you do it?
I don't know if you guys have seen someone write a uni paper recently, but one of my friends is a nurse at the moment. I saw her writing like a paper for a degree, and it was literally a ChatGPT doc that she was working through, and then she went through and just reworded it so that it didn't get done by the AI. And I was like, well, what's the point of any of this?
Please keep me healthy.
And she's a very smart woman. She's a very smart woman.
But that's exactly because we're assessing to a standard criteria and not assessing based on outcome, right? Like, did you talk about this? Did you do this? Did you do that, right? For me, like we should totally be assessing based on what would happen in the workforce, right? Like could you actually solve this problem? Could you actually do it? Like the best university assessment is like, hey, go build a business. Like for a business degree, go build a business. For a software engineering course, like you have a year, build a piece of software that's really cool.
I think it's really important because those entry-level jobs are going to get less and less as people like you guys strip out and automate some of the...
No one's losing jobs.
They are. They literally are. And I don't think it's a bad thing because we'll redeploy in other areas. Yeah. Well, and coming from an advertising background, I cut my teeth doing menial tasks for years, which taught me a lot of the foundations of how to think about things, right? Because you're kind of doing things. But now we're saying actually go in and just do, like build and create. If you don't have those foundations, that strategic thinking, the philosophies of why we're doing things, how customers behave, we're going to miss a lot. So I think as we're thinking about learning, it's really important we go, get in the tools and do.
I agree.
But also take the time to learn from others who are more senior, because that connection between junior and senior is going to become a lot more tenuous.
I think we've actually harmed a lot of the younger generation by not giving them the ability to execute and really live and breathe the problem. Right? Like for me, I got that kind of ownership relatively early and I loved it because I could just dive into the problem and do it. Like what you get now with a lot of these things, like you have a grad program and there's a rigid structure and you only learn this and there's hierarchy and da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, if that's what you want to do, great. But is it going to expose you to the stuff you need to get exposed to, the information, the data, the way that it really moves, like how the world and businesses move and shift? Like, I don't think so, right? And so I'd almost encourage like most people to go and start a business and fail, right? Like go and try a million different things and that will teach you more. Like if you're worried about like, oh, my skills gap on a resume is not that good, go create your own role, try and do that. And then when you do go for a role that you really want, be like, hey, I started this thing. I did Meta. I built the website. I did this. I did all that. I did it all with AI. Like this is my CV. Like I can do it for you too. And I'm happy to learn with you on this journey. But everything is really down to pragmatism and the ability to actually create value. And like, especially with employees, like I want to create value for them as much as they create value for us. Right. And it's like, I want to enable you and empower you such that you never want to leave. Right? That you feel purpose-driven and fulfilled and that you're learning new stuff and that you want to stay here. Right? So if someone comes in, if like my top A-star player comes in with like a giant mega offer from our competitor, he's like, actually, no, I'm good. You know, like I feel good here. I feel fulfilled here. I'm seen here. I'll stay. Right? Like that should be the motive.
I think that's a huge thing is you got to learn how to create your own value rather than waiting for a job to come up and
100%.
go, oh, it's 60 grand. I'll go take that. And that'll be it. It's like, no, how do you create value and how do you get paid for the value that you're creating? A lot more limitless. We've gone in all sorts of areas that I never intended to go, but I'm so glad we did. I'm going to ask each of you with one final closing thought, which is a lot more aligned to CRM. I mean, it's all aligned to CRM, but I'm going to ask you for one thing that you think all retail and e-com operators should be making sure that they're doing in their email or CRM platform. Like what's one thing that you often see is missed? And one thing that you're most excited about in this emerging space, if we take ourselves forward 24 months, what do you think the future of this is going to be?
You do have a lot of data, you have a lot of analytics, but there's a lot of times you don't look at it. Like there's so many numbers that you just like, you build flows off them, you do all these things, but you're actually looking at the numbers of like how many people are actually in your at-risk thing. And is that going up? Is that going down? Like actually keeping track of your analytics within CRM is like one of the things that is so important, but so easy to let go by the wayside.
I'll say automations and flows and testing your emails as well. And also testing them, keeping on top of your inbox providers, rules and regulations. We've been stung by sending unengaged or not relevant content to people. So I would say stay on top of that so you know what's going on with your providers. Test your emails, make sure the format, the layouts, by device, it all works. That's probably basic. And then automations, so flows, and that just builds efficiency.
And not overcomplicate them.
Not overcomplicate them. You want to get to a place where you're getting a majority of your revenue from flows and also your sessions, really. And we're still very much focused on a lot of campaigns, so we've got some way to go, but that would be what we'd focus on.
Good target.
Next 12 months, I think it's one-to-one for a customer for sure. For operators, I would say just the ease of getting all of that set up within the platform. So at the moment, there's those like 3 separate AI bots, if I think about just Klaviyo, it would be like merging them and then even slapping something on top that could pull out reporting and provide customer sentiment and CSAT and themes and just more of that. Is what I'm going to see next 12 months. And I hope it goes that way so it'll make my life a lot easier.
It's going to be interesting to see if it all comes together neatly or if it gets more dispersed.
Yeah.
Bring us home.
Okay. I think my answer is going to be pretty pretty straightforward. I think the first one is just data, right? Like strategic data collection. At the end of the day, like all the cool stuff we're talking about in terms of one-to-one personalization and knowing your customer, like it all comes down to what data you have about them and being really strategic about what data you're collecting, when you're collecting it, when's the right time to collect it, and then how you use it, right? And like for me, it's always that data is a value exchange. You don't want to be asking people for 500 different things. You want to be asking them for the thing that you need it for right in that moment and be collecting it strategically. So that's from first principles, like shit in, shit out, get good data, know your customer well in your CDP, and you'll be able to do awesome things. And the second thing I'm most excited about is like leverage, right? Like even if headcount stays the same, each person can do more, and they can do more in multiple directions. So like, my paid advertising guys are generating creative, right? And the creative's winning. And then, the graphics guys can pull insights and they can be like, okay, how should we build the next thing? I'm able to look after all of it and generate some really cool automations. Like we're just now starting to build some agents to do full market research, angle generation, creative generation, like at scale, right? So you just give it a brief and it goes. So all those things are examples of leverage where we're just going to get more bang for our buck in terms of impact. And I don't think that's going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think the ability to generate leverage and to access leverage is going to get even better, even faster.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting. Like I'm personally super pumped for the year ahead. Like I think we've got heaps of exciting stuff. I love the team I have. I love the tech that we're working on. I love the business. Like we're ready to go.
Love it.
I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. But guys, thank you so much. It was so nice to have 3 different perspectives, all from Klaviyo champions. You're all using the platform in the best way possible. So it's a real testament to you and your teams. But 3 very different businesses in different stages with different goals. But it's nice to hear some common themes around that. We need to progress with AI. We don't need perfection. We need to be curious, and we can't wait for people to give us permission. If you need something, don't wait on Shopify or Klaviyo to give it to you. There are ways to do things. You've got to be genuinely curious and be willing to tinker. That's the world we're in. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you
so much.
Cheers.
That was Lachi Agnew from July, Hani Rifai from Step 1, and Alice Michael from APG Co. What a crew. I could sit all day in that room with them to talk email and CRM, even if it was 30 degrees with no aircon, which, to be fair, it was slightly uncomfortable towards the end, but it was worth it. I hope you agree. 3 things that I want you to take from this one. Firstly, discount to solve a problem, not to fill a revenue gap. All 3 panelists had different versions of this, but the framing that I kept coming back to is Pavlovian discounting. I just like saying it, Pavlovian discounting. So a discount should be designed to drive a specific behavior, whether that's to move old stock, get someone to try something new, nudge a buyer who is so close but might just need that extra push to get over the line. They're all legitimate reasons for discounting. But the second that you start reaching for a discount to hit a revenue number, you're training your best customers to wait, and you're giving away margin to people who would have bought anyway. So before the next discount email goes out, ask, what problem is this actually solving? How can we do this in a smart way where we can encourage a new Pavlovian response from our consumers so that we're growing in the long term? We're not just feeding the beast in the short term. All right, secondly, use your discounts when customers switch RFM categories, not when you need to hit a number. I loved all that conversation around RFM. We started to nerd out, but we could have gone even deeper. Both Hani and Alice talked about this in depth. The moment a customer moves from loyal to at risk is the moment a targeted message needs to land. That is when they need the nudge. It's when it feels relevant and when it's most likely to work. If you just do a blanket 20% off the whole list, it's noise, as we talked about just before, but a well-timed message to a customer who has quietly started drifting, that is a conversion that you almost missed out on. Set up the triggers. It's easy enough to do now. Watch where a customer is almost leaving a group or has just entered a new group, and deploy your incentives at the moment when that customer is at risk. Lastly, stop thinking about segmentation as the final result. Segments, I think they were right. They're still a bit of a workaround. They're our best current approximation of what we think can deliver a personalized message. They're basically demographics gone to the next level, but we know that's not the endpoint that we really want to get to. We really want to get to that one-on-one communication. And we're actually not that far off it now. AI is closing that gap really quickly. So the question is not how to build a better segment tree. It's how to get your data right so that when true one-to-one is available, you are ready to use it. All right, a big thank you to our partners at Klaviyo and to Shopify for making Add to Cart possible. These conversations happen and this access to this amazing talent that we had today, they happen because of our partners, and we really do appreciate their continued support for our podcast and to be able to bring all this to you. Now, like I said at the start of the episode, if you're not getting the Add to Cart newsletter, why not? Sign up via the link in the show notes or visit addtocart.com.au and click on newsletter in the header, and you'll be able to sign up for free every episode. You'll get the cheat sheet, you'll get the links, you'll get everything that you need to make the most out of what you just listened to. That's it for this week. That is part 2 of 3 series at Klaviyo's KSID. We'll be back with our special, our big, our massive finale next week.